Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about how to prepare for your Feb 2024 Level 1 exam. So this is probably the right time to start your prep if you are in the majority of the population where you have a business degree or a BCom and you are pursuing the CFA charter. In this case, around 450 to 500 hours of prep is required, and you can do that in a span of 6 to 9 months. And so for the Feb exam, how can we go about looking at the prep process? If you are looking to take the Feb 2024 exam, you still have some time for the early enrollment deadline, that is the July 13th, right? So we have roughly a little over a month. So before you register for the exam, I highly recommend that you start preparing. When you are preparing after a month or two, you get to know the difficulty of the CFA Level 1. How is it compared to your expectation? It could be easier for some, it could be more difficult. We don't know, but without preparing, you will not know. So if you have already registered for the exam and then you start preparing and then you realize the time is not enough, then there isn't much we can do about it. Like, you will have to take the exam then, or pay another examination fee if you're going to shift the entire window itself. So if you decided to take it on February, enroll, and then now you want to move it to May, it's going to cost you money. So instead, I highly recommend that you study. So spend the next 1 month learning, taking a module test for the chapters that you have studied and seeing how you fare. So at this point, if you're able to get around 60% of the questions right in the modules that you have learned, only then register for that exam. Okay. This is a common mistake. Even here at FinTraders, we have some students come here who have already enrolled for the exam and they have 4 or 5 months to prepare. And then they realize that they really underestimated the amount of effort required to prepare and pass the Level 1 exam. So do always think about studying. So joining a training program, preparing for a few months, see the level of difficulty, and then estimate. So usually your tutor will help you. So we will help you understand when you might be ready. So based on a few module tests, I might be able to say, okay, you're probably not ready for this, but maybe take the next window so you can wait. So once you have decided to pursue the Level 1, we want to think about how to prepare. So let's think about the initial foundational knowledge that you gain. Then you are looking to evaluate yourself, practice, and then the last final month you're going to be revising and reviewing. So during the foundational phase, you are going to get the concepts, make sure that you understand the various concepts. So this stage, the best way is to listen in a class, either live or recorded video, preferably live or in person. You listen, you get the concepts, but at the same time have your CFA curriculum. This is not the time ideally to use the condensed third-party provider materials yet. Ideally, you want to look at the CFA curriculum, watch the class, learn from the class, attend the class, and keep your curriculum. See if you are able to look at some of those blue boxes, illustrations, examples, able to get the concepts really ingrained. So at this point, these blue boxes will really help you to understand the concept. Now, after this, right, so you move on to the next topic. Right? Let's say you took 3 weeks to finish corporate issuers, and then you moved on to equity. Now, equity, you will continue to learn foundational, just like what I mentioned earlier. But after a few weeks, you will want to go back to corporate issuers and revise and practice. So at this point, I will either go to the end of chapter questions or the candidate resources and solve some problems and review at this point the summarized notes, either what the institution has given or what you have written down during the class. So this is the time where there might be some use for our summary notes and reviewing at the end of the preparation, the last month or two. That's when you're going to be using the summary notes. Initially, during the foundational learning phase, you want to be listening to the class as well as using the curriculum in coordination or complementing the class. The second phase, which is the practice and the review phase, so that you don't forget the concepts that you have learned. In this one, you are going to be using the end of chapter questions and the summary notes. So if all of this is done, and then we are getting to the last month or so, at this point, it is all about practicing problems and taking mock exams and revising and reviewing the notes that you have taken, the formula sheets, right? So keep enough time so that you are done with the learning and the preparing and practicing phase at least a month and a half prior to the exam, so that the review and revision happens in the last month and a half. Okay, now if you have any questions, do leave a comment. We'll be happy to help you with this one.